Well, hello, EKN Nation. Welcome to our third edition of On Track with CKNA. Rob Howden here alongside David Cole. Guests we'll have today, Christopher Wakefield, Kenner Brown, and Gary Lawson. Lots to talk about on this edition of the show. David, let's kind of get things rolling. CKNA has had a lot of races since the last time we had a show, so lots to talk about. East, North, Canada. We're just not talking South anymore because they wrapped things up already.
Yeah, they did wrap it up. We've already kind of covered that in our last episode of On Track with CKNA. CKNA North traveled up to Road America on June 13th through the 14th. Their biggest race of the season thus far. Again, Briggs Stratton Motorplex. Of course, you're going to have a lot of racers there at the home of the 206 engine platform. And then again, Canada, they opened up their division on the June 26th to the 28th with 129 entries, a massive event for them, coming off what was that 4-cycle nationals that they had at where was that at?
Well, it's
Mont Tremblant.
Mont Tremblant. Yeah. The tag karting academy, fantastic race.
It's
for sure.
Academy tag karting.
That's not your French accent.
Yeah,
Good for you.
Yeah. Academy.
So I talked to Gerald Casely from CKNA Canada, Cup Karts Canada. They were up at Brecken Motorsports Park. Had a good number of entries up in there. So people had a fantastic time, and the Cup Karts Canada program is really just developing a really good following. They go to Lombardy next, and I know Gerald was super happy with the way things went up at Brecken, which is very cool.
Yeah, I mean, opening up with the biggest event of the year, over 200 entries there in Mont Tremblant, that was massive, and it continues that momentum going on through the rest of the season. And then the CKNA East program, one of the reasons why we have our first guest on, went to the Lafayette Motorsports Park. It was originally scheduled for Kelly's place up in Batavia, New York. Unfortunately for them, they're running into some, I guess, permit or legal issues that are going on with local authorities. So they couldn't host the event. So they moved it over to Lafayette. They welcomed them with open arms. It was a 3-day event over 4th of July weekend. So again, celebrating 250 years of America and 5 race wins for Christopher Wakefield. So, that's why we're going to be talking to him a little bit later. But they had 86.
He was P1 on the weekend, and he's going to be P1 on the show too.
There you go. Yeah, there you go. They had 86 entries that weekend. So yeah, a good massive, good second round for that East program. As we're in July now. We're pretty much in the halfway point of the season, if not the third quarter, if you will,
pretty
maybe
much.
A little
Q3.
bit. So.
Q3. And that's going to happen, David, because this is July 17th, only a couple of weeks away from the CKNA Summer Nationals at the Motorsports Country Club of Cincinnati. Third time that they've been at that track, I believe. Second time, third race.
Third edition of the event.
Third edition. There you go. July 31st to August the 1st. So all the 4-cycle drivers, the CKNA drivers will be ready to battle it out again. How's the entry look so far? Do you have numbers yet so far?
Well, what was it? Within 24 hours, they expanded both senior, medium, and senior light. They capped those quickly. So now those are at 64 drivers. They're at 217 entries total as of today. So yeah, looking for a massive event there. I think senior medium's almost sold out at that 64. And senior light will eventually probably get up there as well too. So those are going to be obviously the two headline divisions, but a lot of good strong numbers in all the other categories as well.
David, big news in essentially the Briggs Stratton world for drivers in CKNA as well, with the 206 being the engine program for the platform. Briggs Stratton Racing announcing a spark plug update. We have Gary Lawson on the show for that reason. We're going to chat with him about it. But the initial or the most recent plug, the Autolite AR3910X was the spec plug. We're now moving to the Brisk DR15ZC. So that's the new Brisk plug. A lot of testing, of course, being done by Briggs Racing to get this all put together. This has been released. And Gary's going to chat with us about what he thinks. He's got one. He essentially overnetted one for himself to get it into the shop, and he's looked at it. So I look forward to that chat. It's going to be good.
Yeah, again, this was something that was, I think, announced in March that they were going to make that transition. Again, the Autolite is being discontinued, so it has nothing to do with Briggs trying to add a new product. It's the spark plug is no longer going to be made any longer. So it seems like they did their due diligence and testing and trying to figure out, okay, what's going to be a good plug for us long term. I've been to the Briggs and Stratton facility, the plants in Wisconsin, and that's all half that place is testing, like running engines nonstop, 100 hours or more on engines. And so, yeah, I got to believe that they, again, not only for racing applications, but maybe for all different other applications with all the different engine models that they do have. Maybe this is a plug they already had data on, so they could be able to do that. Again, we don't really now have kind of a head Briggs guy, Dan. Why can't I think of his name? Dan Roach stepped away. So we haven't really gotten that connection yet with Briggs in terms of that. So, but yeah, again, kind of give us some ideas on what this means for Briggs and Stratton 206 racers, what this change does mean. So we're still waiting to hear finalizing on the release date and the transition time for going from the one plug to the other plug. And also they have additional Autolite inventory released. So I guess Briggs had some that they were hanging on to, kind of waiting to see. So it kind of all makes sense. And again, Briggs isn't just here in the US, it's global. Like, we know they run it in Italy and other countries all over the world. So it's quite a task to undertake for sure.
No doubt. So there you have it, folks. Underway here with On Track with CKNA. When we get back after this break, we've already talked about CKNA East running at Lafayette Motorsports Park. Christopher Wakefield from Precision Performance Karting and Brandon Jarsa Crack Racing having a heck of a weekend. We'll talk to him after this break. Is IndyCar your dream? If it is, for 2024 and beyond, the path from karting to IndyCar has gotten even clearer. It's time to look into the new USF Juniors program and the Tatis JR23. As a first step of the USF Pro Championships presented by Continental Tires, the USF Junior Series will feature a 6-event, 13-race schedule to train racers for the move into the USF 2000 Championship presented by Continental Tires. 3 of the events in 2024 will run alongside IndyCar at Mid-Ohio, Road America, and Portland. The champion will win a scholarship worth over $263,000, and there's a total prize fund that will exceed $330,000. The series utilizes the state-of-the-art Tatis JR23 race car, which is a development version of the USF 22 used in USF 2000. It's the ideal entry point for career-minded karters moving into the car racing ladder. Safety is always front and center in the minds of the series promoters, and the new USF Juniors car also features the Halo, and races are supported by members of the AMR IndyCar safety team. If IndyCar is your goal, USF Juniors is the starting line. For more information, visit www.usfjuniors.com and follow USF Juniors on social media.
Do you want to become a professional race car driver? Are you ready to take your first steps into car racing? If so, Allenberg Racing School is the ideal place for you to make that happen. And as a bonus, our school is located at everyone's bucket list track, WeatherTech Raceway Laguna Seca. From your first steps in a Formula car, all the way to racing in the USF Pro Championships and the USF Junior Series, it's all part of our program at Allenberg Racing Schools and our competition operation, Berg Racing. At Allenberg Racing Schools, you'll learn from a former Formula One driver and will be driving a full-on carbon fiber tub Tatis race car with aerodynamic wings and racing slicks. Not an old technology tube frame car. You'll get more track time per day than at any other school. And our 3-day and advanced programs will have you prepared to race competitively with our Berg Racing program, which participates in both the Ligier JFC Championship and the USF Junior Championship. To learn more, check us out online at allenbergracingschools.com. Be a racer.
Well, welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to this edition of On Track with CKNA. Rob Howden here alongside Dave and Cole, and joining us today as our first guest on the show, coming off a fantastic weekend in the CKNA East race. It is Christopher Wakefield. Christopher, fantastic run for you. Let's talk about the event. First and foremost, the wins at Lafayette Motorsports Park. You get 5 of 6 victories there. So I felt like you dominated the action, it sounds like. We'll get your input on it for sure. But you've had success before. 2025 Spring Nationals, we roll down through some of your stats here. You were the winner in the senior medium category at the Spring Nationals, CKNA and CKNA North and East Junior Champion in 2024. So you've had a lot of success. We'll talk about that after, but let's just start with this last weekend. Tell us how things went at Lafayette.
Yeah, thank you so much for having me. It was an amazing weekend in New York. Obviously, that's the home of the Coyote Factory.
Yeah.
So that was a bit of a priority for us on the calendar. I had some great teammates alongside me. It was really hot, and balancing all 3 classes both days was a lot. But staying in a clear state of mind really helps.
Yeah, I feel like you're like just keep it hopping in and out of carts the entire day.
Yeah. You really have to reset yourself, in between the sessions.
Are you doing 3 different carts, or is it 2 different carts? How does that work?
Yeah, 2 different carts. So one cart switches weight, and obviously the mechanics at PPK and BGR are on the top level. So there's no trouble switching weight and gears.
Let's talk about your running with Precision Performance Karting. I've raced with them obviously before at the Cup Karts Grand Nationals. Who do you work most closely with? I know they have a couple of guys. Paulie Massimino's right there. James Overbeck is in there. Is there one of the guys that you work with more over the other?
Yeah, for sure. Christopher McKeithen has been with me throughout the whole journey with the Coyote boys. And he's really been a mentor. So has Paulie Massimino and James Overbeck. But Christopher was there the first time I ever drove a Coyote kart in Jacksonville. He's just been an amazing teammate and coach. And last weekend in New York, I was able to see how he stepped up and was able to run a team with Paulie. And it was really cool to see, like somewhat of a, like younger than most team owners,
right?
But he's learned a lot over the years, and now he's kind enough to pass down a lot of his knowledge, which is really cool.
I know I did a track walk with him and a couple other drivers when we were there for the Cup Karts Grand Nationals. Like, here I am, 50-something years old, and I got this teenager kid showing me around, and he does a fantastic job in terms of laying a track out as well. Before we dive into more of what you're doing this year, just give us your background. Let's get the people here that are watching and listening, learning more about Christopher Wakefield. Where did you start karting, and how long you been going for?
So I started karting in Tokyo. I lived there the first couple of years of my life. So at 3 years old, I started karting.
Wow.
Yeah. And then I lived in Michigan for a bit, and I karted there in East Lansing Kart Track, which is running laps and laps and laps.
David, he's from your neck of the woods too.
Yeah, I'm literally an hour away from there. I actually have the Bob Hahn Trophy sitting right over here from East Lansing. So let's start. Hold on.
Yeah.
Before the show, you said you have dual citizenship. You're Canadian because both your parents, Toronto and Quebec, and now you live in Florida. Where did Tokyo come? How did that happen? How does all this happen?
So my dad's job requires him to be all around the world. So I've had the privilege of being surrounded by a lot of different cultures, and living in a lot of different places, which has been really cool. That's where the Tokyo came from.
Man.
Okay. So you go Tokyo to Michigan, which is a weird transition there.
Yeah. The Motor City though, so it's all good.
That's good. Yeah,
That's true.
Yeah.
So where do you go from there? So how old were you when you're racing at East Lansing? And I know you live in Florida now. When did you move to Florida? When did you kind of step things up and kind of to move towards the kind of national level, regional national level stuff with CKNA?
Yeah, definitely. When I moved to Florida around when I was 11 or 12 years old, so it was my last year of cadet, and I ran the CKNA South series with Brett, and he's really developed a really good series down there. Yep. And that's where I kind of took a step up, because in Florida it's kind of a hot spot where a lot of karters come down to either train or all the guys team bases there in Homestead, Miami.
Most definitely.
And then I was introduced to a lot more serious racing. A lot of the two-stroke guys, I got involved with that a bit. But yeah, I would say Florida was definitely like a good move for me. And also, I started rowing in middle school as a form of training for kart racing. And I developed a passion for that, and that's what I do in high school, and hoping to do that in college now. But yeah, and then I just, I was introduced to a lot bigger things in Florida, and when I had the chance to, Sodi picked me up, and I was sort of their Briggs ambassador, and I was alongside Low Key Racing, and they've developed a really good program now. Even though I've left them, I see them sometimes at the track, and it's really impressive to see how a two-stroke chassis can come in and run at the top and with four-stroke chassis.
Let's chat a little bit about your move over to PPK. You go from a European chassis, a two-stroke chassis, like you said, kind of focused on that still was able to work in Briggs racing. Then you go to the Briggs only or Briggs focused Coyote chassis. How was that transition from a European chassis to an American chassis? I've done it myself. I know it's a bit of a different kart. The Coyote is a fantastic kart to drive. The Zenith, I love driving it myself. But that transition, not only kart-wise material, but with the people as well, it's a big move.
Yeah. Throughout my whole karting career, I've switched throughout many different chassis. In Sportsman, I was with Burrell. Then I was with ODK for the first part of my junior year, and then Sodi. And then I ran a GFC when I was racing and won the Duffy. And then now I'm with the Coyotes. So I really think the main thought I have in my mind when I'm changing these chassis, we'll talk about the team later, but it's like just keeping the momentum up and focusing on the task at hand. And it's quite simple. Obviously every chassis handles differently, but there's the point is to go fast, and you can't do that by driving a two-stroke chassis like a two-stroke, or a four-stroke chassis like a two-stroke. You just got to keep the momentum up and work with your teammates.
And you got to be adaptable. You have to be able to adapt, right?
Yeah, for sure. Learn the secrets of the kart. But the team, PPK and BGRs, it's really welcoming. Everybody understands that it's a well-placed team. Everybody there has won and knows how to win. So you just have to trust each other and trust the process. I see a lot of young drivers, really putting their trust in people like Paulie Massimino, Christopher McKeith, and James, and myself even. And when I raced in Canada, just doing the track walks and showing everybody the lines, to see young drivers put their trust into me was really a special moment. And I feel like that our team really has that reputation of developing young drivers. In Sodi, there was in the four-stroke side of things, it was a smaller team. We were building up a program that was non-existent in the CKNA world. And that was definitely different. It was a different vibe. And I felt like every race I went out, I had to prove myself, and I had to prove that this chassis could run at the front. But now it's sort of like an expected feeling. I'm going out there to defend a title and defend our place at the top.
I like that. Let's talk about Lafayette now. Again, coming off this fantastic weekend, winning 5 of the 6 races. Let's talk about Lafayette. Is it your first time to the racetrack? I've never been there. I don't think David's been there either. Give us your thoughts when you first rolled in and your first track walk. Was it your first time at Lafayette?
It was, yeah. I mean, I've heard that it's a very historic track, and it used to be a bit smaller. But even when they extended, it was a pretty fast flowing track. But yeah, it was an amazing experience. It would have been 6 out of 6, but two laps away from being 6 for 6. The chain unfortunately popped off. 2 laps. I heard the engine rev. I was like,
the worst sounding karting.
Yeah.
Are you guys, so again, because we've never been there, are you jumping curbs there? Is it kind of, was it that type of situation, or just a strange failure?
Yeah, it was really unlucky. There's almost no curb hopping there.
Okay.
It was just that it was raining. For one of the days, it was like flooding rain, and so we were changing the karts, and the sprocket, the gear was too large for the the gear protectors, and so it popped over that, and
Yep.
and so that was a problem that we got forced into.
I've done that.
No doubt, right? So let's talk about the rest of your plans for this year. What do you what's on the schedule? We're just now, middle of July. I know that the Lafayette race was your first CKNA East race of the year. Where else are you going? What events do you have on the schedule for yourself for the rest of 2026?
Yeah, so in August I'll be racing at the Canadian Nationals. We're going to try to defend our title. We won last year. I'll be doing some coaching up at Trackhouse. And then obviously CKNA Grands is a big priority.
So only a couple more races. That's it. Coaching otherwise.
Yeah. It's been a pretty busy time of the year for me. With college and looking to apply. I'm going to my senior year, so I'm still balancing all the things on my plate. But so far those are the things set on my schedule. I'm sure there are just going to be other races that pop up, and I'll be like, oh yeah, I want to do that. Where Jim Lepar is going to be like, we really want you to come down here, and I won't be able to resist it. But
yeah, when Jim says we need you in the cart, you got to get in the cart, right?
Yeah, that's my job.
So talk about the rowing stuff that you're doing through high school. Like, when did you start doing that? What have you kind of taken away from that and brought physically to karting side?
Yeah, I started in 6th grade as a means of training for kart racing. And then in 7th grade, I took it more seriously. And then now I'm in high school, I'm taking it really seriously. I've won state championships. I competed at the national championships. And now I'm at a training camp where a bunch of the under 19-year-olds are, we've grouped together and we're going to race in Canada in the beginning of August.
That's amazing.
So yeah, it's been a really big shift for me. But it's also really good training for car racing. And it really, what it's taught me is there's two things that it's taught me. The number one thing is nutrition and health is really important. And I saw that in New York. It's like a bunch of people were suffering from the heat and the sweat and all these changing conditions. But I was able to run 3 classes a day, which was like over 40 sessions or
wow.
It was something insane. And I would literally get out of a race, run to the cart, and then hop in and go for another race. And it helped me a lot, training. And the second thing that's helped me is coaching wise. It's like somebody in rowing, there's a lot of different views on what makes a boat go fast. There's so many different things you could be doing in your training and racing. Yeah. And in kart racing, when somebody tells you to do something, sometimes that doesn't like sit right in your head and you don't quite understand it. And so you try to get different views on everything, and just being able to adapt to different people and their different coaching styles and different driving styles is really important. And that's been a really big thing.
I'm sure, Christopher, you heard before, David, watches a lot of sports. You'll hear coaches talk about driver or athletes that are coachable. Some of them aren't coachable, right? For you being able to, in the 2 different disciplines, being able to take the input from both sides, I got to think that it plays off. That it's got to be a success on both sides, where one feeds the other.
Yeah, coachability is really important. It's one of the values that I most I find that are most important in athletes and in people. Just being able to learn and listen to people, not just ignore them and stay stubborn in your own mind. Is like in karting, it's like if you take a corner and you're washing wide in the exit, obviously you have to make the exit straighter, and you have to late apex a little bit more. And if you can't understand it, you're like, no, I know that, taking this line and going 4 wheels over the curb and barely staying on the track is the way to go fast. It's that's not going to lead it to success.
All right. Last question. I want to how badly do you want to win the CKNA Grand Nationals?
Oh man, don't get me started. Don't get me started, man. I've been so close so many times. Yeah. Red flagged on the last lap, all kinds of things.
Do you feel like you're lining up for a good year? Like, do you feel good about yourself coming into the race?
Yeah, I'm in a great mental state. I've got a great team behind me, And last year was my first year with PPK, and so I was in a sense like testing the waters, even though they welcomed me really well. This year I've gotten the sense of, what it's like competing at the senior level. And I think that the way I raced in New York and the way I handled myself, with obviously when you win like one race, the next race is going to be even more pressure.
Yeah.
And at CKNA Grands, I feel like I'm ready to get after it.
Well, we'll definitely have your name on the list to watch for sure. Christopher, thank you so much for taking the time to talk with us today. We really appreciate it.
Thank you so much. I really appreciate it.
Christopher Wakefield, folks, coming off a fantastic weekend in the CKNA East race at Lafayette. 5 of 6 wins, and as you can hear right now, focusing on the CKNA Grand Nationals, looking to get that big win. More to come, folks. Don't go anywhere. This edition of On Track with CKNA continues after this break. In karting, it's important to be supported by the right people. With over 40 years of experience in the sport, Trinity Karting Group has everything you need to make your program successful. We do it all, and we do it right. Trackside support and arrive and drive programs at many of karting's biggest East Coast events, full product sales and service, and professional coaching from our experienced staff. Trinity Karting Group is a full-service operation based at the Motorsports Country Club of Cincinnati, which gives us access to our custom-designed driver training facility. This allows us to offer private one-on-one coaching to take you to the next level. From arrive and drive and coaching programs to the parts you need, let Trinity Karting Group provide you with customer service and a racing experience second to none. In 2025, Trinity Karting Group established TKG Viral Art USA in cooperation with North American distributor PSL Karting. The Trinity Karting Group carries the colors of the Viral Art brand, as TKG Viral Art USA helps to bridge the connection between current and future dealers here in the USA. TKG has in stock IAMI, Briggs Stratton, MG, Evinco tires, and more products for those in the Ohio and Midwest region. Trinity Karting Group has a long history in the sport with a winning pedigree, and we are dedicated to driver development. We take pride in our professional approach and our positive attitude. Let us build a custom race program for you. Give us a call at 513-421-4463 or check us out online at trinitykartinggroup.com. Since 2013, Team Bennick has been one of the leading driver development race teams and kart chassis brands in North America. Numerous victories and championships at all levels of the sport have been earned by drivers racing under Team Bennick. Bennick Kart, manufactured in Italy, utilizes modern technology and materials to deliver the best product for the racetrack. The Bennick Breton 950mm chassis is the flagship model, aimed at cadet-level karting. No matter the power plant, the Bennick Breton takes drivers to the top of the podium. Introduced this season is the new full-size chassis, the Bennick Torpedo. The frame is designed for single-speed competition for junior, senior, and masters level drivers in 100cc and 125cc categories. Coming later this year will be the new shifter kart model for the North American market. Not only is the Bennick kart found at dealers across the USA, but around the world with distributors in Asia, Mexico, and South America. The Florida-based Team Bennick can be found at all major karting championships across the United States, including the Florida Winter Tour, Superkarts USA Pro Tour, United States Pro Kart Series, and many more events including Rock Vegas and the Superkarts USA Super Nationals. Find out more about the Bennick Kart and Team Bennick at bennick-kart.com. Well, welcome back, folks, to On Track with CKNA. Rob Howden here alongside David Cole. We go from the east and north down into CKNA Southland. We've had Brett Spouty talk with us quite a bit throughout our shows here and things we've done on the website as well. They wrapped things up earlier this year in the CKNA South program, and joining us today from Middleburg, Florida, Kenner Brown from Kenner Brown Racing, one of the key teams in that program. Kenner, first off, thank you very much for taking the time. We appreciate it.
Yeah, thank you guys for having me on today.
Obviously, the CKNA program and its divisionals, including the South Series. Let's first talk about you yourself. How did you get started in karting? Then we'll dive into when you started Kenner Brown Racing.
Well, we moved to Florida in 2001 when I was pretty young, and we just happened to, like most people that race at 103rd Street, you don't know it's there, and you just kind of drove by it, and it's off the side of the road right there.
Right.
So we decided to go over there and try it out.
So you dove right in. Was it you and your family racing? What did you race then back in 2000? When it was 2002, 2003? When was it?
So those were back when we were running flatheads.
I was going to
think
say
we started off on blue plate
yeah.
flathead.
Yeah.
So kind of the funny story about that, and I know a lot of people fight this when they get started, but we really didn't know what we were doing. So my dad decided my first engine he was going to rebuild. Well, he had built me a great engine for a half a lap,
Excellent.
I think we've all been there, right? We've all
drag racing engines. Yeah, right.
Yeah.
That's awesome. So you spent time at 103rd Street Sports Complex, a legendary racetrack, no doubt about that, in Florida. So where do we transition from you being a karter, a young guy going racing, to now where you have your own team based in Florida? You got a lot of guys that run in the CKNA South program. Give us kind of the origin story for Kenner Brown Racing.
We just, we started off at 103rd. There used to be, I think it was the Florida Karting Championship in Florida. We ran a little bit. I just kind of ran all over the states. I used to run champ karts. Probably one of the funnest things I ever did was we used to run champ karts on asphalt ovals in Florida a lot. So we raced at Auburndale, DeSoto, Orlando, Speed World, places like that. A lot of fun. Luckily, I didn't get myself killed looking back on that. But it was.
They got cages. Come on now.
I'm a big fan of champ karts. I ran Daytona. I ran the dirt at Daytona. It was fun.
Oh yeah. Well, you get on a 3/8 mile high banked oval, and you're doing 80 miles an hour with a flathead. I know that sounds hard to believe, but
I don't know. 100%.
Oh man.
Yeah. Spool that thing up for sure. I love that. So you go from there. Let's transition out of cage karts into the champ karts into when you really rolled into the sprint stuff.
Well, we've done it pretty much the whole time. We just did a bunch of different stuff, right? So kind of, how this all has started is over the years, just mechanicking for people and stuff like that. I worked for, basically started with Tim Clark, who ran Masters and Legends now, and we won a lot of races doing that. And, more recently was with Ronnie Kleiss coming up, and then more recently Colin Aiken.
Okay.
While he was at TS and stuff. Yeah. When Colin's racing F2000 right now. So kind of when that all happened, kind of did the South Georgia thing, and I just decided to start my own team. So just kind of transitioned from the mechanic, kind of, did some big races. Yeah. We went to Las Vegas, ran the Supernats a couple times, different things. And worked for a couple of different teams over the years, Speed Concept and like Chad Dawkin. I worked with some of those guys, and I just decided I was going to try it.
Yeah, resume sounds good. So are you primarily, you obviously do the CKNA South program? Is it primarily Briggs focused? Do you do 2-cycle stuff as well? And what material, what brands do you support?
Yeah, most of what I do is the 206 stuff. North Florida pretty much just is mostly 206. There's not a lot of 2-stroke. There's a lot of guys that I'm getting right now that we're transitioning and running a little bit of mini stuff and micro stuff and trying to bring it on. But I used to race shifter karts a little bit, so I got a little bit of background in it.
So what's your team look like here, or this last season of Cup Karts South? How many drivers did you have? Can you spout off some of the successes you had this year?
Yeah, I would say we probably around 7, 8, 9 drivers for most of the South races. I had Maddox Nieves in Cadet, won most of the races this year in that. He won the championship.
All right.
Ryder Thompson, Max Hudman in junior. Ryder won the championship in junior class, and Adriano Uzi was you guys talked to a couple weeks ago, races with us. Yeah. We had some success with that. He won the medium championship. And so I'm pretty fortunate. I've got a couple really good a couple really good shoes driving with us.
Sounds like you do. That's good. That's amazing stuff. What material? What chassis are you guys on? Is there one you do, or are you one of the shops that kind of will take any kind of chassis depending on what the driver wants?
So probably about a year and a half, 2 years ago, I'm a dealer for Coyote Motorsports in Northeast Florida. Right now, I'm transitioning to most of my drivers are on the Coyote, but starting especially a 4-stroke team, you got to be more open. and fortunately enough, with a lot of the different chassis and teams I've worked with, there's 4 or 5 that we're pretty comfortable of messing around with and doing. But obviously, from our standpoint, we'd like everybody to be on a Cody. It just makes it way easier, right?
It
but
does.
So, and we've got a really good product. I feel like, obviously I'm biased, but I just the Cody, if not the best, right? It's definitely in the conversation.
So talk a little bit about how you build a racing team. Are you kind of just going to Jacksonville there, the racetrack there, kind of scoping out some of the drivers like, hey, we'd like you to come run Cup Karts with us? Or are you getting asked, hey, can you help us out? Can you how did that all kind of come together? Was it you searching for drivers or drivers coming to you for help?
Luckily, because some of the guys I've worked with in the past, when I decided I was going to do this, I had a little bit of interest. Now, obviously we had raced at Bushnell Motorsports Park, kind of the local stuff and a lot of the South stuff and a lot of the national stuff. So, I reach out to people and do outreach. And I get some people through that, but I honestly just, most of the people that I've got that race with me for the most part are, South Georgia, North Florida area that I just kind of known for a long time. And we're starting to branch out, into a couple different states where I've got guys racing with me from outside our area, which is good. That's what what I need really to grow. So.
Yeah, with CKNA South being done already, wrapping up, because they run through the kind of the winter season, the early month of the year. Just kind of focus on 103rd Street at that point, or will we see you at the Summer Nationals? Are we going to see you at the Grand Nationals? What's the plans for you for the rest of the year? Oh yeah, he says.
Oh no, I mean, for a serious race team, we're going to those, right?
I like it. That's good.
Yeah, I mean, I'm doing this full time now, so I don't really have a choice, right? So
awesome.
Not that I want to, but yeah, we're going to go to the Summer Nats, and we'll run all the big CKNA races, right? All the 4 nationals, the South races like we did this year. So yeah, I mean, we're locked in, got the pit spots, all the drivers signed up. I think we got 9 or 10 guys in Cincinnati.
That's awesome.
So really looking forward to that.
Let's ask about expansion ability. Like you said, you've got 8, 9 drivers. What's the goal? Like you see these tents with X amount of drivers. Some team owners will say, my sweet spot for me and my crew is right around here. Where do you have room for growth? In other words, should people be calling kind of around to see if they want to join up if they're looking for a team to be with?
Yeah, I mean, I'm always open to talking to anybody, trying to get into the drive stuff. I mean, my kind of aspect on this is, from being at different places, especially coming out of the 2-stroke world, right? I don't want to just bring people in to have them there to just take money from them. So as long as I have the ability and the talent and the mechanics and workers, I'll take on what I can reasonably take on to give everybody what they pay for, right?
That's it. Yeah.
It's really what it comes down to.
Yeah. Is there, so coaching wise, you've always been racing for 20 something years right now. I assume that you handle the coaching program at your team?
Yeah. So I have another guy that I've been friends with for a really long time. His name's Doug Schmidt. He's raced a lot, pretty much everything I was racing. I was probably the competition. He was like, well, Kenner's doing it, I got to do it, or Doug did it, I had to go do it. Right.
I love it. Yeah.
So he helps me, and we kind of divide the drivers up. We're real big on video and data and stuff.
Yeah,
like that,
that's
right?
good. That's perfect. Let's give me your thoughts on Cup Karts South. But we obviously, this is a CKNA program. We're talking a lot about the series itself. Just give me your thoughts on running with Brett at the Cup Karts South program. Everybody we've talked to, man, we just get all great feedback from drivers, from teams, you name it. Sounds like it's a great place to race.
Yeah, we pretty much ran this since the start. Obviously, I didn't have a team then, but I mean, I remember back when I think it was 3 races, 2 Bushnell, 1 Jacks the first year. I don't know how long it's been, 6 or 7 years ago, but we ran it for a long time. It's been a good series, a good variety of tracks. We went to Daytona this year. Everybody wants to go to Daytona and race. It's, it doesn't matter what you're racing, right? You could race shopping carts in the parking lot. You have a good time, right?
That's it. Yeah.
Maybe that's a new class we should start up.
Yeah. No, don't do that. Don't do more categories. That's funny. Well, that's good. I love it. Dave? I
was going to say, what are your thoughts on, obviously you've done a lot of the racetracks in Florida. What do you think of Biloxi and Music City, those 2 facilities?
Yeah, I mean, they're definitely different, right? Biloxi definitely throws you for a curveball, the way you got to set a kart up for that track and some of the different things you got to do, but it's pretty tight. It seems like a pretty fun track. That's one of the few places I haven't ran on, and Music City for me kind of is really kind of an old school track, right? The way they kind of got it laid out, where I think somebody told me the Bandolero Legend car track and they paved onto it. So it's pretty fast, probably not the hardest track in the world, but it seems like it's a lot of fun. Yeah, I like the track.
And the new track they're talking about, Kenner, I think, anytime you can get new facilities, David and I love seeing when we get announcements or people dropping some news that there's a new track coming. I love this. Number one, the track owners seem very motivated. And then to have a brand new CIK level track, that sounds like it's going to be huge for the CKNA South program.
Yeah, I hope we can go up there and run it pretty soon. It seems like, I don't know about up where you guys are at, but definitely in the South. Seems like we got a couple tracks popping up, which is good. There's a lot of motorsports, especially with racing circle track background. A lot of the car tracks, it just seems like they're few and far in between. We're actually building go-kart tracks right now, so which is
so true. Which
is really good, right?
Yep.
So,
hey, listen, if they want to get a hold of you, let's wrap this thing up. If people want to get a hold of you to potentially to race with you, where are you on social media? What's a good opportunity or avenue for them to contact you?
Yeah, so we got a Facebook and Instagram page, Kenner Brown Racing, and then you can email me at Kenner at kennerbrownracing.com if you want to reach out and see if we can help you out.
That's great. Well, listen, best of luck for the rest of the year. Obviously, with the Summer Nats coming, I'm sure we'll see you at the Grand Nationals as well. The place is going to be packed again. Kenner, thanks for taking the time. We appreciate it.
Yeah, I really appreciate you guys having me on today.
Fantastic. Kenner Brown from Kenner Brown Racing, folks, one of the Coyote dealers that are starting to grow and grow throughout the sport now. And, of course, up in North Florida. He'll be at the Summer Nats. The team will be at the Grand Nationals as well, as will, I'll say, probably every driver in the Cup Karts North America program, David and I included as well. Folks, so when we get back after this break, we're going to sit down and talk to a guy who's been around for a long time, Gary Lawson. Established in 1999, PSL Karting is a powerhouse within the North American karting industry and around the world. PSL Karting is your complete source for all Bureau Art products as the North American importer, providing this top quality product through both their expansive dealer network and through the PSLKarting.com online store. Whatever you need is available 24/7 online, including safety gear, parts, components, and full karting packages. PSL Karting is the importer for the Bureau Art, Charles Leclerc, Kubica, and Barrichello brands of karts, all in stock and ready to hit the track. Grab your winning chassis for any category by visiting PSLKarting.com to find your nearest dealer. PSL Karting is always looking for interest in new dealers and teams to help create new business relationships. Drivers looking to take their talent to the next level can join the Bureau Art North America race team, competing at all major USA and Canada events this season. When you're ready to win, go with PSL Karting. Let decades of experience and success lead you to the top of the podium. Join Brandon Jarsakrak Racing as your race team at the sport's major events in the United States. Brandon Jarsakrak is a 4-time United States Pro Kart Series champion, along with a multi-time Superkarts USA Pro Tour and WKA Manufacturers Cup Series race winner. Jarsakrak is ranked among one of the best from his generation to get behind the wheel of a racing kart. BJR provides full race team service and support at all USPKS, SCUSA, and Stars Championship Series events, along with trackside programs at the Trackhouse Motorplex in Mooresville, North Carolina. Partnering with Mike Doty Racing, Brandon's team of driver coaches and mechanics are passionate for the sport, providing decades of experience both on the track and working with many of today's karting standouts and current motorsport stars. Brandon Jarsakrak Racing offers a full range of services, including kart preparation, driver coaching, and race event support for both 2-cycle and 4-cycle competitors. BJR is an official LN Racing Kart team with OTK USA and is an official offset sport race team. Contact them today to develop a program based around your needs. Head to BrandonJarsakrak.com to learn more. Welcome back, folks, to On Track with CKNA. Rob Howden here alongside David Cole, and you'll recognize the guy beside me right now, Gary Lawson from Lawson Speed Shot. Gary, first off, thank you very much for joining us. There's some stuff to talk about. I'll go over that in a second, but first off, thank you very much. Appreciate it.
Yeah, thanks for having me on, guys.
So I'm going to read this one, folks, because there's a lot of letters and a lot of numbers. So as you probably noticed or saw, Briggs Stratton coming out with a news announcement that they are moving to a new spec plug for the 206 program. It was the Autolite AR3910X. We're now moving to the Brisk DR15ZC. So, Gary, I don't know if I even know this. How long was the Autolite, the actual spec plug?
I'd be guessing myself. Yeah. I'd say approximately 5 to 7 years. Okay. Before that, it was the Champion, the Briggs logo.
Yep.
I don't even remember what that one was called at this point.
So let's first and foremost, before we go in, because I know that you have a plug. You have one of the Brisk plugs. As an engine builder, and again, this is layman's terms, the significance of the plug, what does it bring to the table in terms of performance, just to kind of, for those maybe new to the sport?
Yeah, there's a few factors at play when it comes to spark plugs, and kind of the main things with this plug aren't traditional because they're a surface gap plug. The ones we've been dealing with, the Autolite was kind of a unique in its own way. They call it an X plug because it's firing off of 4 different prongs, and now this Brisk is more of a traditional like surface gap or a marine plug, they call them, where it's just firing off to the side. But even this new plug has its own unique characteristics with a ring that is halfway up the porcelain, and it's very unique in how it fires. To watch it, there's videos online. If you have a spark plug tester, you can kind of see those things and how that differs. But definitely how much volume it takes up in the cylinder will make a difference in how the spark plug will affect the horsepower. Obviously, raising compression is never a bad thing to a certain point, especially not on our engines. So that, and then how hot the spark is. There you can't control the gap. So unlike say like a KA, where you can change the gap and make some of those adjustments and see the horsepower difference in the RPM ranges, this is a fixed plug. So obviously that was purposeful. And it has been even back to the X plug that they wanted to take some of those variables out to where, there's just less thinking, more of a spec. And that's definitely why they went this direction.
Well, as a legend in our sport and obviously an engine builder, let's come to you with the first look. You've got one. What are your thoughts on it right now? What are you thinking?
Here is the plug. Let me that is a used Brisk plug versus the AR3910X that we have there. So I can show you how they fire on my little machine here. So clearly a lot going on, a lot of sparking. And we had our first chance to do some dyno testing on it today. We just got one in. And it was every bit as good, if not just a little bit better than the AR3910X, which I was surprised. I remember when we switched from the Champion to the Autolite, it was, about a 1/10.5 to 2.5 tenths of a performance increase on our dyno at least. And then the Brisk is maybe even a 0.5 tenth to a tenth better than that one. So we're definitely not taking a step back, but I don't think either way that you're going to notice much difference on track.
Yeah. As an engine builder, you're happy with it?
Yeah, so far. Idling was good. I've talked to a good bit of quarter midget people that have been dealing with this plug for multiple years. And, largely it's been accepted as a good plug, and they're still using it. It's only been that way for 3 to 5 years. So yeah, dynoing was good. Idle was good. Startup was just as simple. Everything was smooth. So, and now it's just more of a longevity thing, and hopefully
love it.
It's not a cheap plug. So hopefully it does last at least as well. And we'll get to testing that.
That's why I was wondering. Me and Rob don't race enough to understand it, but how many plugs do typically, like, say, a club racer goes through, or maybe compared to like a driver who's racing at all the national Cup Kart races? Like, how many plugs do you really go through in a year, do you think?
It definitely varies. There are people that run a lot of two-stroke stuff, and they're used to changing them every day, every other day, and they kind of get used to that pattern, and definitely not necessary on a 206. We have guys that they just put a plug in, or we do it for them when they send it in for service at 10 hours or so for a rebuild. So they're going through maybe 2 or 3 in a year. So very insignificant, when you talk about a $8 Autolite, and now we're at maybe a $14 or $15 brisk plug that, we're talking $10, $20 for your yearly budget. Nothing to be concerned about unless we have to change them due to performance or consistency or reliability, which hopefully is certainly not the case.
There you go. Question out there, question asked, question answered. One thing we'll bring up, and I know it's not really a CKNA deal, but the recent cancellation for 2026 of the Rock Island Grand Prix. Gary, they call you the Emperor of the Rock Island Grand Prix. You've won many races there. David does. Just thoughts on the cancellation? Hopefully, we'll be back in 2027, or do we maybe focus now instead on some of the great memories we all have from that event?
Yeah, I mean, it's certainly a sad day. Don't love losing races, and certainly love keeping up with everything going on there all the time. And hopefully they can bounce back and things go well. But yeah, we've had great memories there with everybody. Man, I just so many good races that we still talk about once in a while.
Right.
And I love listening to your guys' coverage, even when the race is coming around, to listen to some of those old races, especially the ones that Rob got to call. Those were great times.
They were good times for sure. David, anything else for Gary, or can we let him go back to work? He's got lots of edges to build. Well,
I mean, what is the work he's doing? Like, how has been moving over and doing your own business for the last few years? How has that been, that transition to now being the boss man, and everything stops with you and your wife?
Yeah, it's been excellent. We've ramped up all the time. We have a couple employees now, and we just really customer base just keeps growing. We've really ventured out into Canada, all across the U.S. We have engines in Bermuda.
That's amazing.
All over. So Italy, kind of send stuff a little bit everywhere. So it's been great. I work from home. I have a big shop at my property, so I walk a couple steps outside, so I get to see my kids all the time. They're usually right above the shop. We have basically a big living room, so they get to hang out there all the time. So it's much more family time.
Are they doing any cleaning or any kind of task right now?
Yeah, just yesterday, my 6-year-old, she can put chain guard bolts and things like that in individual baggies with the washers, and my wife's got her packing all those, and
perfect.
My son's sweeping up and things like that.
I love it. So listen, you're obviously working. You got the tools. Is there anything that would put the helmet back on you?
Yeah, I wish I could just say yes. And it's, I guess I haven't really publicly said anything, but my shoulders are pretty messed up with arthritis. So that's really more the reason why you haven't seen my helmet on, but maybe someday.
I would like that. That'd be fun.
Yeah, me too.
We'll just hop you up with a bunch of drugs and get you out there for a couple of races.
Yeah, I think, I'll smell like the icy hot old guy.
Gary, you're the Masters now, right? You might as well.
Yeah, I'm sure Legends is coming up sooner than I think too.
Trust me, it's not as easy as it sounds.
No, it's not. I really look up to those guys that are able to do it 50, 60. There's guys,
it's awesome.
70 years old, still banging laps.
When I'm on that grid at the Grand National, I look around, all of us 40 plus us guys that are 50 and up. I think that's a big part of the sport. I love seeing guys that are in their 50s out there racing with us. So it's just awesome.
Yeah, it's pretty awesome. Yeah.
Gary, listen, obviously some big news there with that new plug coming out. Came to you, got the information we needed. I'm sure that those are in the sport right now in the CKNA program, in the Briggs 206 program, are going to be happy to hear it. So thanks for taking the time out of your day. We appreciate it.
You're welcome. Thanks, guys. Good talking to you.
There is, folks, Gary Lawson from Lawson Speed Shop giving us all the insight in the new brisk plug for 206 competition. Back to our final break. When we get back, David Cole and I will wrap up this edition of On Track with CKNA. Check out any major national karting event, and what's the common thread? Speed Concepts Racing. Up front, in every class, every weekend. The Speed family has been at the forefront of American karting for over 25 years, and Speed Concepts Racing is the sole dedication of Father Mike Speed and his multi-time championship-winning son Alex Speed. This program is all about passion for the sport and a dedication to winning. They know how to get it done. If you're a senior driver ready to put yourself amongst the best in the country, Speed Concepts Racing is the program for you. We can win the big races. You just need to be in the seat. The Speeds program has delivered time over time in the junior classes as well, helping to elevate a long list of young drivers from mid-pack to potential race winners. Speed Concepts Racing has the perfect equation of coaching, driver development, and technical knowledge to elevate your program. Arrive and drive opportunities are available for the remainder of the 2023 season, and we're locking in seats for 2024 as well. If you're ready to take your career to the next level, contact Speed Concepts Racing through email at speedconceptsracing@gmail.com. Made in the USA. It's not just a statement, it's the mission at Factory Karts of America. Led by 5-time Super National champion Billy Musgrave, Factory Karts manufactures their frames completely in-house at their Phoenix, Arizona facility. Built and designed from the ground up specifically for the American karting market, Factory Karts brings new innovations and solutions that are long overdue. Factory Karts bring together the highest quality materials to produce high-performance, long-lasting karts that have been designed and perfected from years of development. No other karting manufacturer stands behind its product as Factory Karts does, providing a 2-year warranty on all their frames. Join the Factory Karts official race team this season, hitting the SuperKarts USA Pro Tour and Pro Kart Challenge, along with the new Southwest Super Series program. Full trackside support for Factory Kart competitors is available, along with Arrive and Drive programs and tent space housed under our new race team hauler that debuted at Super Nationals 27. Remember when American Made meant more innovative, original, stronger, faster, and just plain better? Well, American Made is back. Contact Factory Karts today to join the American Made movement. Learn more by visiting factorykarts.com or email info@factorykarts.com. Welcome back, EKN Nation. Let's wrap things up for this edition of On Track with CKNA. Rob Howden here alongside David Cole. David, let's wrap things up. 3 really good guests here today. We talked at the break, at the top of the show, about all the events that have happened so far. Let's talk about what's happening in CKNA for almost the rest of the season, really, right? Here we are rolling into the start of the end of July, start of August. Then it's August, September, October's the Grand Nationals. So really only about 2.5 months of racing still to go until Cup Karts South starts again, likely in December. So let's have a look at what's lined up. We kind of chatted about it already. July 24th to 26th, Cup Karts Canada at Lombardi Motorsports Park for their second round of the season.
Yeah, that'll be the midway point for their championship, and then kind of roll in the following week to the big one, the Summer Nationals at Motorsports Country Club of Cincinnati on July 31st through August 2nd. And then a few weeks off for Cup Karts racers before the North Division gets back into action with their season finale held on August 22nd through the 23rd at the Norway Motorsports Park. What's that?
I've never raced at Norway. That's a track I'd like to go to. I've been there many times. I've been there back in the day with WK Constructors Championship.
Yeah, you were there back in the day. I was there with WK Man Cup.
You were, that's right.
Yeah, so it's been a while since I've been there. So yeah, obviously since the new owners have taken place, the new pavement that's there. It's a racetrack I do definitely want to go to. Unfortunately, again, schedules conflicting.
I know.
Different things. So, but yeah, then after that will be the East finale as it heads to New Jersey Motorsports Park on August 29th through the 30th. So the East will wrap up there. And then Canada will wrap up its divisional program over our Labor Day weekend. I believe it's a different holiday for you up there, right?
It's still Labor Day weekend for us.
Oh, is it? Okay, I couldn't remember. What's Arbor Day? Or am I thinking something different?
It's the tree day. I don't know what that is.
Tree day. I don't know. Okay.
Isn't it like a day for trees, planting trees? I don't know.
I thought it was something.
No, it's still Labor Day weekend.
Okay, it's still, but it's with the U, right?
Probably with a U. Yeah.
Labor
I would expect Labor Day.
Okay.
I don't know.
So yeah, the September 4th through the 6th weekend.
Where are they racing, Dave?
Three Rivers.
Trois Rivers. That's right. Yes, Three Rivers. Karting Trois Rivers. Good for you.
Yes.
Good stuff. Yeah, it'll wrap things up for Cup Karts Canada again. So they're racing next week at Lombardy, and then the first week of September.
Yes.
At Three Rivers, as David would say. After that, listen, man, it's October 11th, or 8th to the 11th. Number 10, Cup Karts Grand Nationals at Newcastle Motorsports Park, 10th edition of it. I remember when we first went, my first race we were there at, and everybody asked me about the race, and I said, it's given me the feel of the first couple of years of the Super Nationals. I've been blessed to, I was there at the very start of the Super Nats. I've announced all of them so far, but it had that feel that it was something that was kind of, I knew it was going to get bigger. And every conversation we had was how big could it get, whether it was with Steve Vermeer or Greg Jaspers, how big could it get? How many extra days are you going to have to add on? So again, this race has become absolutely massive. It is the mecca for Briggs 206 racers in the U.S. and Canada. And this is, I think with Cup Karts Canada even growing even more, they're going to see more Canadians coming down because it's become this cross-border program, which is great.
Yeah, and it was that before COVID. Obviously, we had a lot of Canadians coming down before COVID, and then COVID happened, and it took some years. And again, you kind of need that momentum. You need that again, numbers breed numbers. So the more Canadians that keep coming down, the more that'll come down the following year. And so I think we're getting to that point now where we are going to have a lot of them coming down to compete, because again, the season's pretty much done up there. Right now they're having all their nationals and big races over the next 6 weeks. I think they have like 6 straight weeks of nationals going on. You got the Open, the finals, the Western finals, and then the actual Canadian nationals.
Yeah, lots going on.
So So I think that'll be good in terms of bringing, again, more Canadians back down to the Grand Nationals. And again, you got all the 2-cycle guys moving over for the one weekend, and drivers coming from all parts of the U.S. and elsewhere. Other different countries coming in. We've had the New Zealand contenders come in. We've had other different countries come in as well too.
And it just feels, I don't know if you have this feel, David. For me, the main events of the Super Nats and the main events of the Grand Nationals, I always get like goosebumps. Like when they roll down the straightaway for the green coming in turn 1 of the Grand Nationals. Oh, it's thunder of the 4-cycle.
I will say it's. I feel it more now as a competitor than I do. Because I've only been there as a competitor, and then last year being a reporter, just journalist, I didn't quite get that same feeling, but it was like, oh, this you wake up, it's like, oh, it's finals day. Let's get it on.
That's right. Yeah. So, folks, there you go. 5 divisional still to come for Cup Karts North America across all the groups. The Grand Nationals capping things off for the second weekend of October. David, that wraps things up. I guess if you're not already doing it, cupkarts.com for all the information. Follow him on Facebook and Instagram. Any final words, Dave?
Good interviews. Great to speak with Wakefield, who is a former Michigan resident. So that was cool to hear.
East Lansing brothers. Yeah.
Yeah. That's cool. Kenner Brown, again, it's great to hear stories of that. That's kind of how a lot of these teams started.
I love it.
I just did the hot seat with Kyle Wick yesterday or the day before, talking about the early days of Mike Rollison. Like, he was just getting a bunch of people together and coaching them. And then look where Mike Rollison has ended up now, and even Kyle Wick himself. Yeah.
And there's Kenner, right? Started racing himself, worked for other teams, built his own program, and now he's full time. I love that.
Yeah.
That's a success story for sure.
So that's going to be great to see grow. And then of course the Emperor Gary Lawson. It was great to speak with him. I'm sure we'll be talking football come Grand Nationals time.
No doubt. There you have it, folks. That wraps things up for this edition of On Track with CKNA. David's got a lot more stuff planned, a lot more shows coming as well. And as I said in our last show, if there is an interesting family story, is there a family that we need to talk to in the Cup Karts North America community, let us know about it. We'd love to have them on the show. We'd like to dive into their story because we know there's so many fantastic ones in everybody racing in this fantastic program. That caps things up again for this edition of On Track with CKNA. On behalf of David Cole, my name's Rob Howden. Bye for now.